For the first time since 2006, a Polish president has opposed celebrating Jewish holidays at the presidential palace.
Is this an extremism?
Or a return to normality?
Meanwhile, in the White House, support for Israel remains unwavering. Is Donald Trump a Jewish president?
Does this level of alignment still reflect strategic partnership?
Or something closer to policy made on one's knees?
On the European stage, Eurovision faces boycotts over Israel's participation.
Why was Israel allowed to participate?
And who is funding the contest? I'm Mark.
I'm Mike.
And this is Global Report.
Global Report. News straight from home.
Polish President Karol Nawrocki is ending a long tradition of lighting Hanukkah candles in the presidential palace. The newly elected president has announced that this year he will not take a part in the menorah lighting ceremony for the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah.
This is the first time this happened since 2006, when the tradition was started by then President Lech Kaczyński. Since then, the ceremony had been continued by every president, regardless of political background.
The decision has caused strong reaction and public debate in Poland and abroad. Many observers are asking whether this move is linked to anti-Israeli sentiment in Poland and all around the world, connected to the ongoing conflict in the Gaza Strip. President Nawrocki, however, says his decision follows views he expressed during presidential campaign.
Czy zapali pan świece hanukowe zgodnie z tradycją, którą podtrzymał Andrzej Duda, a zapoczątkował Lech Kaczyński? Nie, panie redaktorze, ja swoje poglądy i swoje przywiązanie do wartości chrześcijańskich traktuję to poważnie, więc obchodzę święta, które są bliskie mojej osobie. Czy jest pan...
He stated clearly that he did not plan to continue this tradition, even though it had been maintained by his predecessors. At the same time, Hanukkah tradition will still be observed in the Polish parliament. The speaker of the Sejm has confirmed that the menorah will be lit in the parliament building, as it has been since 2007.
This suggests that the president's decision has not fully changed the Poland's relation with Israel.
Some commentators point out that Jewish influence in politics and media is widely discussed in Poland.
Zauważa pan, że Żydzi mają stanowczo za dużo do powiedzenia w polskich sprawach.
Słuchamy odpowiedzi Sławomira Mencena.
Several Polish politicians have spoken publicly about their Jewish roots. Former Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski once joked that in Poland it has almost become a tradition for presidents' wives to be of Jewish origin. Sikorski himself has a wife of Jewish descent.
Because of these historical and political connections, Poland has for many years taken a generally friendly stand toward the state of Israel. However, some conservative voices question whether this approach has always reflected the views of ordinary Polish citizens. Critics argue that Jewish holidays receive more public attention than other religious traditions. They also criticize that too much public funds are used to support museums and events related to the Holocaust. They also expressed frustration over repeated references to so-called Polish death camps,
and a Polish death camp to see for himself,
which Poland officially rejected as false.
In the context of current Israeli military actions in Palestine, some Poles see President Nawrocki's decision to break with Hanukkah tradition as a positive symbolic move. Supporters say it reflects growing public unease and a desire to redefine long-standing political customs.
Meanwhile, strong support for Israel has also been highlighted in the United States. President Donald Trump has repeatedly praised Israel as a key partner of the United States, often without offering detailed policy arguments, instead expressing what observers describe as unconditional support.
I think President Trump is the greatest friend that Israel has ever had in the White House.
During a Hanukkah celebration at the White House, conservative commentator Mark Levin referred to Trump as the first Jewish president.
And he loves Israel too. 6 years ago I was up here and I said, this is our first Jewish president. It's Now he's the first Jewish.
These remarks triggered strong reactions among American social media users. Some commentators say that President Trump has lost trust among people who believed that the MAGA movement would, at least in part, reduce or end US financial support for Israeli actions in the Middle East.
Support for Israel and pro-Israel stance has a long tradition in United States.
With Israel, as you know, they're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment.
For apologizing for our support for Israel. There's no apology to be made. None. It is the best $3 billion investment we make.
I know that when I visit AIPAC, I'm among friends.
Because of this, not all Americans are discouraged by such gestures. On the contrary, for many voters, strong support for Israel remains a positive and expected position. Whether these recent developments point to a real shift in US public opinion is still unclear, and at this stage it is difficult to draw a firm conclusion.
Poland is not the only place in Europe where measures were undertaken to express opposition to Israeli political decisions. Iceland, Ireland, the Netherlands, Slovenia and Spain declared that they will not participate in Eurovision Song Contest, since Israel participation is already confirmed.
The Eurovision is an annual televised music competition that brings together performers from across Europe and a few neighboring countries for a live international showdown. Israel's participation in Eurovision has long been questioned by the part of public, largely because the country is not geographically located in Europe.
That debate has grown more heated in recent weeks, as fresh political developments have reignited scrutiny and made Israel's presence one of the most contentious issues surrounding the contest. It is worth mentioning that Russia has been excluded from Eurovision following its invasion of Ukraine, a decision by organizers who said the country's participation would conflict with the contest's values amid the ongoing war.
By contrast, the same measure has been not applied to Israel, which continues to participate in Eurovision despite its involvement in an ongoing horrific acts.
Therefore, our position is clear. Until the barbarism stops, neither Russia nor Israel should be in any more international competition.
Although there were many calls for Israel's removal from Eurovision, its officials have confirmed that the country will participate in the competition. The organizers pride themselves on a neutrality while conveniently overlooking the fact that the key sponsor, Moroccan Oil owner, is a private company called Moroccan Oil Israel Ltd. The company was founded in 2008 in Montreal by Chilean-Canadian Carmen Tal and her Israeli then husband Ofer Tal. Today, executives such as David Cohen and Jay Eldradar remain closely engaged in its operations, though there is no publicly available information about their personal background.
It is perhaps no surprise then that Israel's influence is significant within the company.
The business is based in Israel, where 80% of Moroccan oil is manufactured, in a nondescript warehouse about 2 hours north of Jerusalem.
Whether this connection has any bearing on Israel's participation is not publicly documented, but as always, the final judgment is up to audience.
That's all in today's video.
If you enjoy it, make sure to leave a like and subscription.
Comment your suggestions and stay tuned for more.